I know what you're thinking, bro. Louis, are you in some sort of sex dungeon? Well, yes and no. It's not a dungeon, but it's a room where my friend who has a lot of Tinder sex dates brings all his Tinder sex dates. So what better place to talk about Tinder sex dates than this room? Yo bro, welcome in today's vlog, which is about Tinder hookup dates. So in this video, I'm gonna help you get more of that muff diving action. So let's dive straight into it. Tip 1, don't be like Marc. I have a student, let's say his name is Marc, and he downloaded Tinder with one goal, the sole purpose of getting laid. Now the problem is 3 things. 1, he's not getting a lot of matches. 2, his conversations are long and boring and don't really head anywhere. There's no goal in the conversation. And 3, when he goes on Tinder dates, girls more often than not see him as boyfriend material, which may not sound like a problem to you, but to Marc it is because he just wants to get laid. Now, by using my advice, we transformed his pretty much non-existent sex life into the sex life of a pimp. Or let's at least say now he gets laid on Tinder. And if your situation is anything like Marc's, then in this video I will teach you how to adjust your profile and how to adjust your messages so that hookups with you are just a logical consequence of matching you. Tip 2. Imagine you are starving. You're really hungry and the one food you crave most is a cheeseburger with a thick, juicy patty, cheese dripping off on all sides. But you don't want to move at all. You don't want to go get it. So you decide to order in. You wait, and every waking second you see flashes of that cheeseburger in front of your eyes and you just want it so badly, and then all of a sudden the delivery man is at your door. You storm to the front door, you open it, you accept the food, you run back to your table, you unwrap it, and it's not a cheeseburger, but it's a vegan meat substitute without buns. Pretty much just meat substitute wrapped in salad. How are you gonna feel right now, bro? At the very least, you'll be mildly disappointed. But at the worst, you'll be fucking infuriated. You are likely to be mad and feel betrayed, right? And it makes perfect sense. But this is actually what a lot of guys are doing on Tinder. They advertise themselves as a sweet, deep, caring person, and don't get me wrong, I do believe you have a deep side or have a sweet, caring side, but this is not the side you want to be advertising if you're just looking for one-night stands. So, chances are you are doing something similar to Marc right now. You're displaying all sorts of boyfriend material, features and characteristics, and you're saying what a boyfriend type would say, but you're actually hoping just to get laid short term and you don't want anything long term. So maybe right now you have a photo of you looking all happy walking your dog, or you're holding your little nephew again with a big smile, and it's just everything a girl wants to see when she's looking for someone caring to build a family with or whatever. But it's not what she's looking for when she just wants one night of good sportsmanship. Tip 3, the 1-2 rule that gets you laid. So you might be wondering, what did Marc's profile look like? Well, it was way too sweet and caring with too many of the nephew and dog photos and all that kind of stuff. So let's say I'm making my own Tinder profile and I want to use this picture. Well, this is me hugging 2 baby cats. This is very sweet and caring. So to give you some direction, if you want to use a photo like this, you want to balance it out with the 1-2 rule, which means for every 1 sweet and caring photo I use, I want to balance it out with 2 more badass photos. Now, what do those badass photos look like? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's exactly what I'm going to show you in tip number 4, the bathroom selfie that actually works. So you need a more badass or a more masculine profile. Well, what does that look like? It would contain more masculine photos, because after all, you are a man with a dick. Think of a Jason Momoa type of vibe. What kind of picture does Jason Momoa have? Well, it will be him swinging around some giant sword, or him being half naked in a lake just looking all badass and immune to cold. There's always a reason or an aesthetic part of the photo. It's not just him showing off. Now, I don't want you to try and imitate Jason Momoa or try and be someone like Jason Momoa. I want you to be yourself and be authentic, but I want you to show off something similar to his vibe. You want to show some masculinity, you want to show some strength. So for example, we saw me cuddling 2 cats. Well, there's my 1-2 rule saying that if I want to use this photo, I need to balance it out with 2 more masculine photos. Well, I could use, for example, this photo, where I'm in a pretty rough ocean surfing all by myself. This is more masculine than cuddling 2 baby kittens, so this is already balancing out a little bit, but I need a second photo. Well, that could be maybe this one, where I'm showing that I work out and I have an okay body, but it's not just me being a fuckboy in the mirror. No, it's a more artistic, more aesthetic vibe to it on this old abandoned parking lot. Or it could be me looking all artsy in this park in this black and white photo and somewhere in Germany, or it could be me cliff diving in Portugal. All of these things have a more adventurous masculine vibe to balance out the pussy photo. Tip 5. How your linguistic pattern is cockblocking you. So one of the mistakes Marc was making is he was sending terribly boring messages that automatically seeded the friend zone. And when I really analyzed this conversation and dived deep into it, I saw that he was using a lot of words and topics that I would never talk about myself. Now I made a list of them, and I'll tell you what Marc was talking about. Topics he would keep going on about were work, study, and your day or today. Verbs he would use would be doing, working, watching, going. Other words he would use a lot were a bit, just, pretty, and okay. All of these words, they trigger a very normal, everyday, boring conversation. Even worse, they trigger the rational mind. Especially when talking about the weather or your work. How do you expect your date or your match to get excited? Like, don't text your match that you had a cool weekend. Instead, text her that you're currently diving into the 3rd bucket of caffeine just in an attempt to stay alive. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be excited all the time, but for example, don't tell her that you had a boring day at the office. Tell her instead that if your dumb colleague asks the same dumb question one more time, you're gonna climb the Empire State Building King Kong style and naked, and then jump off head first. Although in general you want to avoid negative topics and bring a positive atmosphere. Tip 6. Words that trigger sexuality. Now we saw that Marc's linguistic pattern triggered normal, boring, rational conversations. Well, there's also words that trigger a sexual vibe and make her think of bathroom acrobatics. If you want to know what these words are, well then just check the article linked in the video down below, and also like and subscribe to my channel, because if you don't, I'm gonna hack into your phone, delete all the words that trigger the bedroom acrobatics vibe, and you'll be stuck only sending the boring, rational words, and you'll never have sex again. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna punch you to the screen right in the mouth. And I've been boxing for about 3 weeks now, so you better be scared.